Okay, welcome friends. Today in this video I will explain you unit 7 of block 2. So the block, it is role dynamics, and this is the second block of ms26. ms26, that is organizational dynamics. Under that block, under that ms26 organizational dynamics comes block 2, in which we study role dynamics. And here this chapter, and or this unit, it is unit 7, organizational stress and burnout, as you can see on your screen. So I will explain this chapter. So in this unit, here you can see, first let me select okay, that it will be better. Okay, so now here given what is stress, 7.1. This is the first you can see given 7. What is stress? So stress refers to stimulus resulting in detectable strain that cannot be accommodated by organism, and which ultimately results in impaired health or behavior. Now you see, try to understand what stress refers to some stimulus. So it is a type of stimulus resulting in, means it is a type of stimulus which causes detectable strain. Okay, means a type of detectable strain results due to stimulus which cannot be accommodated by the organism, and that ultimately results in impaired health or behavior. It means the ultimate result of a stress, it is ultimate result of a stress, it is health, means impaired health or behavior. So due to what factors stress happen? You know what, here a stimulus, means some type of stimulus causes a strain, means some type of detectable strain in the organism that cannot be accommodated, means that cannot be managed by the organism, and which ultimately results in impaired health or behavior. Okay, so that's why here you can see written stress refers to some stimulus. This is a type of a stimulus results in detectable strain that cannot be accommodated, cannot be accommodated by the organism. Okay, and results in impaired health or behavior. So now you can see stress is a type of stimulus which results in detectable strain that cannot be accommodated by the organism, and which ultimately results in impaired health or behavior. So next point given here, general adaptation syndrome. Okay, so what is this general adaptation syndrome? This is a model, to explain, general adaptation syndrome. It is a model to explain the stress phenomenon. Okay, so here given, when an organism is confronted with a threat, the general physiological response occurs in 3 stages. So now you see, whenever there is any type of threat, okay, and if the organism confronts any type of threat, then in that case that organism is going to respond. Means there are 3 stages of response of the organism due to that threat. Okay, and the responses here will be physiological responses will be there. So the first given alarm reaction. So this is the first stage of, okay, this is the first, that is alarm reaction. So what happens? So the first stage includes an initial shock phase in which resistance is lowered, and now you can see resistance is lowered, and counter phase. Now you can see resistance is lowered in the first phase. Now here you can see in the diagram. So here it is the alarm stage. So resistance here it is lowered, And this is shock phase. Defensive mechanism, now you can see here I'm underlining here, defensive mechanism become active. Okay, defensive mechanism become active. So that's it. So this is the first phase, so which include an initial shock phase. So alarm stage is initial shock phase in which defensive mechanism becomes active. Now here you can see alarm reaction. Alarm reaction is characterized by autonomous, sorry, aut here autonomous excitability. So now here, correct, what are the characteristics of alarm stage? So first excitability given, second given adrenaline discharge. In this stage the organism responds in the following ways. There it is excitability in the organism, adrenaline discharge is also there in the organism, here given blood content, so increased heart rate, muscle tone, and blood content and gastrointestinal ulceration. So these are the characteristics. Okay, or you can say, so when any organism confronts any type of threat, then in the first stage, that is the alarm stage, in the following ways the organism responds to the threat. So whenever the organism feels threatened, then in that case the organism may get autonomous excitability, or there will be adrenaline discharge in the body, or increased heart rate also may be possible, and here muscle tone also. So these are different things which happen in the body of the organism whenever the organism faces some type of threat. Then next given here, depending on the nature and intensity of the threat and condition of the organism, the periods of resistance vary and severity of symptoms may differ from mild invigoration to disease adaptation. Now you can see here, depending means depending on the nature intensity. So what type of threat there it is, and what is the intensity of the threat. Okay, and also the condition of the organism, the period of resistance may vary. Okay, so it may be mm, mild invigoration to disease means, now you can see the range it may, so due to the intensity of the threat, or the nature and the intensity of the threat and the condition of the organism, uh, the symptom may differ from mild invigoration to disease adaptation. So from mild invigoration to disease adaptation uh, may occur. So second stage given, stage of resistance. So what happens in the second stage? So now whatever here written, so now this here you can see in the alarm stage, here the resistance it is lower. In the resistance stage, the resistance level it is highest, and in the exhaustion stage again the resistance is lower. So maximum adaptation occurs during this stage. So now maximum adaptation means the maximum resistance here. The resistance here it is the maximum in this case. In case of resistance means stage of resistance, there it is maximum. Here your maximum adaptation occurs during this stage. So bodily signs characteristics of alarms reaction disappear. Means whatever bodily signs were there in case of alarm stage, so those signs are going to be disappeared in case of stage of resistance. Resistance increases to levels above normal. So the resistance level it increases greater than the normal level, greater than the average level. But if the stressor persists or the defensive reaction proves ineffective, the organism deteriorates to the next stage. So now you can see if in this stage, if in the stage of resistance, if it is continue, if the stressor continues to persist, if the stressors continue to remain active, then in that case, so what will happen? Reaction proves ineffective, means defensive mechanism of the organism will prove to be ineffective, and due to that ineffective uh, reaction mechanism, so what will happen? The organism deteriorates to the next stage. So what is the next stage? Now you see here, the next stage is the stage of exhaustion. So in the third stage of exhaustion, when the adaptation energy is exhausted. Okay, so when adaptation energy is exhausted, then what happens? Now you see, exhausted, signs of alarm reaction reappear. Means whatever signs were there in the organism, means in the alarm state, so those all signs are going to come again. Means they just like autonomous excitability, increased heart rate, or those all signs are going to reappear in the stage of exhaustion. Okay, and now you can see here written reappear, means those alarm stage signs going to reappear in the stage of exhaustion, and the resistance level begins to decline irreversibly. It means resistance level begins to decline in such a way that the organism is not going to return back to its normal condition, so that it is the stage of exhaustion. And when the stage of exhaustion reaches to its maximum limit, then in that case the organism collapses. So that it is about the general adaptation syndrome model. So now here shortcomings of this theory. So what are different shortcomings? The first shortcoming of this theory, it is based on researches carried out on infrahuman subjects. Okay, infrahuman subjects where the stresses are usually physical or environmental, whereas the human organism is not always confronted by such stressors. So now you see, stressors may be of so many different types. Stressors may be environmental, or stressors may be human factors. Okay, human factors just like social factors and interpersonal relations. So these all factors are human factors. So this research was carried out on infrahuman subjects. Infrahuman means in here the stressors were environmental factors, not the human factors. But we as human feel stress due to so many reasons. And when we feel stress, so and the stressor passes through so many layers. So I will explain here in the following steps. So whereas the human organism is not always confronted by such stressors, means it is not always that the human being are going to be feel stresses due to environmental factors only. Means human factors can also be responsible for the stress. Now, the second given, the intrapsychic or social factors emerge as major stressors in human beings. So, intrapsychic means social factors. So, that's I already told that here human feel stress due to social factors also. But this research was carried out on infrahuman factor, means just like environmental factors. So, here social factors were not considered in this case. So this one, it is a shortcoming. Then given the reactions of infrahuman subjects are more direct, perceptible and easily measurable. Now you can see here I'm underlining now. Here given infrahuman, so it means environmental factors are more direct, perceptible means we can perceive those environmental factors, and easily measurable, we can measure the environmental factors. Okay, but this is not true for human subjects. Just like here given, this is not true for human subject. Why it is not true for the human subject? The reason is that the responses are mediated through several layers of cultural and social filters. So how we feel means how we accept, how we perceive the human factors. So human factors we perceive, uh, you know what according to in what social situation, means in what social structure we are in, according to that we filter the information, and then according to that we perceive the stressor. So that's why here written. So their responses are mediated through several layers of cultural and social filters. Means whatever stressors are there, means human factor stressors, so those stressors means pass through so many cultural and social filters. And in the same way, here we can say that people in different social and cultural setup may feel different types of stresses, means different levels of stress due to same circumstances or due to same stressor. Okay. So here given the three important sectors, three important sectors of life in which stress originates are: the first given job and organization. It means totality of work environment. Second important sector in which stress the social sector or the social or cultural context. And the third, it is intrapsychic sector. It means intimate and personal, like temperament, values, abilities, and health. Okay. So these are three different sectors in which we can get stresses. So here, next topic given, organizational stress. So stress in the organization has been defined in terms of misfit between a person's skills and abilities and the demands of his or her job, as misfit in terms of his person's need. Now you see here there is a misfit. So why stress happens in the organization? So here term misfit between the person. Now here I'm underlining misfit due to misfit between a person's skills and abilities and the demand of his or her job, as misfit in terms of person's need not being fulfilled by his job environment. It means misfit means whatever skills and abilities the person possesses, and whatever skills and requirement the organization demands. If there is misfit, and so if skills possessed by the individual is not going to match according to the requirement of the skills and abilities by the organization, then what will happen? The person so need not being to be, means whatever person's needs are going to be not going to be fulfilled by his job environment, and in that case the person may feel stressed. So six major sources of stress at work are, so the first source given here, first given source, factors intrinsic to the job. Intrinsic to the job meaning means inside the job what are the factors which may cause stress. The first given working conditions, second given shift work, third given work overload. So second given role in the organization. So role in the organization may also cause stress. So how that may cause stress? Now you see role ambiguity, role conflict. Now you can see here. So in the Western organizations and in the Indian organization, means some differences are there. So first I will show you how Western organizations, so what are the sources of stress in the Western organizations, and what are the different sources of stress in the Indian organizations. So now you can see here role ambiguity, role conflict, and degree of responsibility for others are major sources of stress in the Western society. Okay, in the Western society, these are the reasons for all, or you can say, these are the sources of stress in the organization. Now, in the Indian organizations, you see here, Indian organization have following three factors of job stress. So, what are these three factors in Indian? Role erosion, inter-role distance, and role stagnation. So these are three factors which cause stress in Indian organizations. So first, given role erosion, it means whatever role a particular person possesses, if the responsibility it is going to be decreased, then in that case the person may feel stressed due to decrease in the responsibility. And second, given inter-role distance. Inter-role distance means If a particular person has many rules, and if those rules are uh, opposite to each other, then in that case the person may feel stressed. And the third, given the rule stagnation. Rule stagnation is if the rule is not going to fulfill the particular person's uh, ambitions, or uh, you can say satisfaction is not going to be fulfilled by the rule, then that is rule stagnation. Relationship at work, learning to live with others. Now you can say the third, it is the cause here. Learning to live with other people is one of the most stressful aspect of life. Okay, there are three critical relations. Okay, there are three critical relations. Relationships at work, those with superiors. So now you can see here, maintaining relation with the superior, those with the subordinates. Okay, and those with colleagues. So here three types of relations a particular person has to maintain in the organization. And you can see here, you're not learning to live with others, that is stressful for human beings, so that's here given. So how to maintain the relations with these three category of people may cause stress to you can say to the individual. Now next, given the career development, a lot of issues such as job security, fear of job loss, and obsolescence or retirement, and numerous performance appraisal can create pressure and strain. The frustration of having reached a career ceiling or having been over promoted can also induce a lot of stress. So these are so many reasons due to which uh, a person may feel stress, and there's all things come under career development. For example, job security, so that it is also related to the career development. So fear of job loss or retirement and so many other reasons may cause a person to feel stressed. Next, even organizational structure and climate. Just being part of an organization can present a threat to a person's sense of freedom and autonomy. Okay, it's like if in any organization, the and autonomy, freedom and autonomy are valued to very less extent, very less. Now you see here, if in an organization freedom and autonomy are given value to very less extent, then in that case the person may feel stressed. If the person want more freedom, more autonomy, then in that case there will be stress. Okay, then next, given non-work factors. So non-work factors means just like family problems, economic problems, health problems, political uncertainties, etc. These all reasons may come under non-work factors, which may cause stress. Now next, given heading burnout. So what it is burnout? So burnout can be defined as the end result of a stress. Okay, so what is burnout? It is the end result of a stress experienced but not properly coped with, resulting in symptoms of exhaustion, irritation, ineffectiveness, discounting of self and others, and problems of health. So now you see here, burnout, it is the end result of a stress if stress is not properly managed and coped with. Now you see here, if uh, if the stress is not properly managed, then in that case it may cause burnout. So because burnout is the end result of the stress, and what happens in burnout? So the symptom of burnout is here given. Symptoms are exhaustion. Now you can see here what are the symptoms: exhaustion, irritation, ineffectiveness, discounting of self and others. So these are the symptoms of burnout. Okay, and health problem also, problems of health. So just like heart hypertension, ulcer, heart problems. So These are the symptoms of burnout. So in simple word we can say burnout, it is the end result of a stress if stress is not properly managed. Okay. And the symptoms are exhaustion, irritation, ineffectiveness, health problems may be hypertension, also heart problems, like that. Now, burnout appears to be a response to interpersonal stressors on the job, in which an overload contact with people results in changes in attitudes and behavior. Now, you can see burnout appears to be a burnout I have explained. So now these things, burnout or stress syndrome. Burnout stress syndrome, boss, the consequence of high levels of job stress, personal frustration, and inadequate coping skills have major personal, organizational, and social costs, and these costs are probably increasing. So now these costs are increasing, means the cost of burnout. Here you can see boss is a deliberate, means burnout stress syndrome, deliberating psychological condition. Deliberating means it is increasing psychological condition brought about by unrelieved work stress. Okay, so burnout stress syndrome, deliberating psychological conditions brought about by so now you can see burnout stress syndrome causing by unrelieved work stress. If the work stress is not going to be relieved, then in that case it may cause burnout stress syndrome. Okay, so four types of consequences can arise from it. The first given here, first effect here, depletion of energy reserves. Second given, lowered resistance to illness. Third given, increased dissatisfaction and pessimism. And fourth given, increased absenteeism and inefficiency at work. So these are the consequences of burnout stress syndrome. And burnout stress syndrome is brought about by unrelieved work stress. If work stress is not relieved properly, okay, then in that case burnout stress syndrome may appear, and that is a psychological condition which causes depletion of energy reserve, lowered resistance to illness, increased dissatisfaction and pessimism, increased absenteeism and inefficiency at work. Now, stages of burnout. So what are the different stages? I have it here following 5 stages given. So 5 stages of burnout. So the first stage given, honeymoon stage. In the honeymoon stage, there is an euphoric feeling of encounter. Now you can see here an euphoric feeling of encounter with new job. Okay, here the person feels excited about the job, and if dysfunctional features emerge in 2 ways. So here the first stage, it is quite exciting for the individual, and dysfunctional features, just like dysfunctional features may emerge in 2 ways. The first reason which may cause dysfunctional feature, the first given, energy reserves are gradually depleted in coping with the demands of challenging environment. If the environment is challenging, then the energy reserves are gradually depleted. Okay. Second, and that depleted energy may cause dysfunctional feature. Second, given habits and strategies for coping with stress are formed in this stage, which are often not useful in coping with later challenges. So whatever strategies for coping with the stress are formed at this stage may not be useful in the later stages. Okay. Few shorter stage. So next stage given, few shorter stage. Here there is a vague feeling. Now you can see here, there it is, at this stage there is a vague feeling of loss, fatigue and confusion. Okay, so there it is, a vague feeling of loss, fatigue, and confusion at fuel shortage stage. That is the second stage. And symptoms are job dissatisfaction, inefficiency, fatigue, and sleep disturbances leading to escape activities. Okay, escape activities are increased eating, drinking, and smoking. Third stage, given chronic. Now given chronic symptom stage. So now at this stage, you see symptoms become more pronounced. So now physiological symptoms become more pronounced, means become more, what, visible, demand attention and help at this stage. Okay, here physiological symptoms, whatever physiological symptoms come in the burnout, so those symptoms become more pronounced, means those become those all symptoms increase at this stage, at the chronic symptom stage, and that requires attention and help at this stage. So what are common symptoms? The common symptoms are exhaustion. Now you can see first given exhaustion, second given physical illness, anger, and depression. A sense of fatigue and exhaustion overtakes the individual. Now next given here, hold on for a moment. Okay, now I think so. Now here where I was, yes, the fourth stage. The fourth stage, it is the crisis stage. Okay, here fourth stage is crisis stage. He or she, means the individual feels oppressed. Okay, oppressed. Individual feels oppressed. There is heightened pessimism and self-doubting tendency is ascended. So now here at the crisis stage, the person feels oppressed, heightened pessimism, there is a increased level of pessimism, and self-doubting tendency emerge at this stage. So symptoms are just like peptic ulcers, tension, headaches, high blood pressure, difficulty in sleeping. So these are the symptoms of crisis stage. Now next given hitting the wall stage. So this is the fifth stage. With all the adaptation energy are depleted like the glycogen of a marathon runner, one may lose control over one's life. Now at the stage, hitting the wall stage, the whole energy is depleted, and one may lose control over one's life. It may be the end of professional career. Now you can see at this stage, the person lose control over one's life. Here lose control over one's life, and there it is, and maybe end of professional career. So that is hitting the wall stage. While recovery from this stage may shake off some, means here some people may recover back from this stage or some may not. So it depends on the resources, how much resources the individual possess. Just like here, others may be resourceful enough to tide over the crisis, means some may be resourceful enough to come back, means to reverse back to uh, the better stage from this stage, and some may not overcome this crisis. So now next event, sources of burnout. So following are news now event. So these are different sources of burnout. The first source of burnout given, level of stress. When stress is too little or too much, it leads to hyper stress or hypo stress. Okay, so too little stress is also not good, and too much stress is also not good. It means optimum stress is better for optimum performance. Second, given the personality. A personality orientation called type A has been found to be associated with cynicism, means low interpersonal trust and a sense of loneliness. Okay, so this is the characteristic of type A personality, and this personality may also affect the stress level. So such a personality uh, has a higher level of stress. So other personality factors contributing to burnout are externality. Okay, so now you can see other personality factor. Externality means a feeling that the person does not have control over what happens, and that external forces or chances or fate determines things. So now you see here the first personality factor, it is type A personality factor. It means having low interpersonal trust and a sense of loneliness. So that personality uh, may cause the person to feel a little more stress. And the second personality factor, it is externality. It means the person may feels less control over the external things, and which may, or we can say less control over the things around him, which may cause stress. Now next, given nature of the job or the role. So the third factor given here, nature of job or role. If the job is highly routinized, does not allow any diversity, freedom, and does not provide opportunities for creativity and growth, it can lead to burnout. So now you see here, so if the job is highly routinized, then in that case it may also cause stress. So that's why here some creativity and growth here required for decreasing the stress level. Fourth, given network life. So fourth, given networks life, the executive social or economic conditions, family life and relationships, family and other obligations, health condition, etc., also contribute to his or her burnout. Now you can see these all factors also may contribute to uh, stress. So network life means how the person is related to others, just like here executive social and economic condition. So in the same way, because social and economic condition decides how the person is going to be related to the other people in the society, and family life and relationships, family and other obligations. So these all things contribute to his or her burnout. Fifth, given lifestyle. The pattern of structuring. So what is lifestyle? The pattern of structuring one's time is how the person structure his time. So that is lifestyle. So stress dissipating lifestyle contributing. Now you can see stress dissipating lifestyle results in glow up. Okay, stress dissipating lifestyle causes glow up. And what are the characteristics of a stress dissipating lifestyle? Characterized by relaxed life. Now you can see relaxed life, taking up creative pursuits, spending meaningful time with family, friends. On the other hand, a stress absorbing lifestyle is characterized by narrow interest, limiting oneself to work and leading a tense and a structured living. Okay, so that is the difference in between the stress dissipating lifestyle and the stress absorbing lifestyle. So now you see stress dissipating lifestyle here characterized by relaxed life, taking up creative pursuits, spending meaningful time with family and friends. So these all things are under stress dissipating lifestyle. And the second, it is stress absorbing lifestyle, is characterized by narrow interest, limiting oneself to work only, and leading to tense and structured life. 6. Given role style. Role can be broadly classified into approach and avoidance. Okay, now you see role style can be broadly classified into approach and avoidance. Approach style is indicated by hope or success, influence, acceptance, and growth. On the other hand, avoidance style is indicated by an executive acting out of failure, helplessness, chaos, irrelevance, etc. Now you can see role style. So how person handle different situations. Now you can see in the first case, in so two role styles given here, approach and avoidance. First given approach style and the second given avoidance. So in case of approach style, the person works with hope of success, influence, acceptance, and growth. And in case of avoidance style, here executive acts out of failure, helplessness, chaos, and irrelevance. Now next event, copying 7 number, copy dysfunctional means coping style. So dysfunctionalism coping lifestyles are characterized by fatalism, blaming, sowing aggression towards, now you can see here it is towards others, and the functional coping styles are you can say persistence in nature. So dysfunctional coping styles are related, you can see characterized by fatalism, blaming others, showing aggression. So these are dysfunctional coping lifestyle. And in case of functional coping lifestyle means here persistence in nature, characterized by the hope for solution of problem. So now here in case of functional coping lifestyle, there is the hope for solution of problem. Then 8 number, given organizational climate. A supportive organizational climate can much contribute to executive glow up, and a hostile climate to executive burnout. So it depends what type of climate there it is in the organization. Okay, if the climate it is means organizational climate I'm talking about. If organizational climate is better, means if that contribute to executive glow up, and so if it is better for the executive, then in that case it is going to decrease the stress. And if it is a hostile climate, then in that case the executive means that may result burnout. Okay, then in the next video I will explain you coping with stress and burnout, how we can cope with, means how we can manage stress and burnout. So thank you all, we will meet again in the next video.